Ciao a tutti, Lindsay
Ciao.
and Alessandro here to explain to you how to pair your Wine Club 2 selection with your Thanksgiving dinner. Thanksgiving is a heavy meal. This is, of course, not necessarily the ideal meal to pair some of your wines with because you're going to get, of course, Barbera. You're going to be getting Barbaresco, Barolo, these kind of wines, and this is actually possibly the only thing that does not really, it's probably the worst pairing usually you can do. Although we'll get to that in a moment about what might pair of one of these wines. But there are other things besides the turkey, of course, that we have to worry about pairing for Thanksgiving dinner. So let's jump to it. We have, usually we're going to start off, of course, with the appetizers. So you're going to have anything from different baked things. You're going to have different fried items. You might have some shrimp trays, vegetable trays. What will work with all of them?
First of all, let me tell you that I think that this is possibly the best selection we did on the Wine Club so far. And every year we're able to improve it and to make better deals with the winemaker, and especially we are starting an interaction with the winemakers that is starting to, creating an influence on the wine, and some of them are made for us based on our suggestion. We have one special bottle actually there that is actually in my heart, but that is the San Marco 2014. From a price range point of view, also this is a bottle that you might find on the market for $100, $150.
But don't pair that with your appetizers.
No, never. I just want to make a presentation of some of the few bottles that are actually quite important. And actually, it's the first expensive wine I've ever tried in my life when I was 17. So if I am here drinking wine and selling wine and talking about wine, it's mainly because of that night that I tried that wine like 32 years ago. But besides that, I would say that with appetizer you have the Monpiano Brut, which is this one, the Padosé, which is actually a wine that coming from, and also from Milan over here. Is the only region, is actually the only few three winemakers that they make sparkling in that area without adding sugar in the fermentation process.
And this is Metodo Classico.
Yes,
so
it's
we are
Metodo
speaking of a...
Technically, it's not necessarily only a Metodo Classico, it's more than that. It's something between Pettinato and Metodo Classico. So a Petit Naturel is a naturally sparkling. The idea that they add some young wine in the bottle and they create a fermentation without adding any extra yeast and sugar. So the wine is actually more clean on the palate, less tasty, less stinky, more perfume, more fruity, with a beautiful, nice, crispy finish at the end.
What about the Erpacrife?
Erpacrife, which is a bit more slightly conventional. I like it. It's a Nebbiolo base.
Not conventional as in supermarket.
No, I'm talking about conventional in terms
word.
of Metodo Classico, champenoise, so more champagne style.
It's a sparkling Nebbiolo.
But the interesting thing is that actually is made by a red grape variety. There is Nebbiolo, that is the same grape variety of the Barbaresco and the Barolo. So tend to have a slightly tannic. I would say the Erpacrife depends on the appetizer you're actually preparing. If they're really simple, I would skip the Erpacrife and I will keep the Erpacrife maybe even with the turkey as a potential pairing, or something that is actually a bit more complex because it's actually slightly more classic type of sparkling.
Perfect. Next, we usually move into vegetables. So this is going to be anything from, I've seen asparagus on the table. Mashed potatoes are a staple with gravy, of course, fundamental. You have to have them there. You might see scallops, potatoes, asparagus. Asparagus is even more difficult.
Asparagus is a bit more tough, but I have a pairing with that.
Broccoli, even green beans.
Broccoli and green beans are actually quite tough. When we talk about potatoes, we're talking about a really basic type of food that is like bread in a way. So somehow it can go with everything. I wouldn't really care about, freaking out. I'm gonna pair my smashed potato. They can go everything.
Smashed potatoes.
I wouldn't maybe ruin my San Marco or my Barolo or my Barbaresco or my Super Tuscan with that. So I would keep it maybe with a lighter type of red, like you don't have really light red. You don't have really simple.
You're the
one.
second level, so you're a more premium, higher
most
level
of the
wines.
wines here are super high class wines because you have two Barolos, you have Arpepe, maybe Petit Rosso from Arpepe, but considering a light red Petit Rosso is a bit insulting. This is a beautiful complex wine. I have a pairing actually with the smashed potatoes, but especially with the cranberries, which is the Musico. What's that?
Keep going.
What's happening?
The Americans will understand why I'm laughing. Keep going.
What?
Keep going.
The Musico is a Pinot Grigio that I got a 6 months skin contact that actually bring up a lot of fruit with a nice salty finish. So to me that would be ideal with even the cranberry sauce you were talking about. If it's
the famous cranberry sauce. No. I was not quite understanding when we were
speaking earlier about what cranberry
sauce is, but It's cranberry sauce. It's
Yeah,
cranberry
looks like
sauce. You either
kind
know
of
what it is or you don't. But anyways,
When you mix it with something else, we just eat
you
less
know, a little bit
food
of
of cranberry sauce.
You cook the
Nada,
cranberries
that's-
down until they're.
It's gonna be sweet.
It's tarts. Anyways,
Tart,
don't worry.
whatever. Okay.
We're not gonna try to change Thanksgiving dinner on you. So beyond vegetables, usually the point we're serving turkey.
No, sorry. Musico can go with asparagus. That's the difficult.
Okay.
Because that's
it
a
is
white
difficult.
wine that stays on the edge of red because it's got a bit of a skin contact. It's kind of an orange type of wine. Almost, not orange, but almost similar to orange. So that could be a possible because asparagus usually is the nightmare I have every sommelier that
Yes,
preparing.
this is true. Okay, usually then, if we're not eating it all together, it's going to be the next step will be the turkey. So,
Okay, turkey to me is like you can start with the Cesanese Cirsium from Damiano Ciolli.
which is beautiful. It's
It-
like
It's a kind of a Pinot Noirish Burgundy type of wine. So maybe
honestly, it's a Lazio wine, and some people say, "Oh no, it's an incredible Lazio wine." No, it's an incredible wine. Period. In this world, we tasted the 2009 Cirsium after 10 years of aging. You could have inserted that with Grand Cru Burgundy.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say let's suppose they have a big family that they like to drink and and you're kind of generous with them, so you want to share all your wines from the wine club. Also, I remind you that you can reorder them whenever you want. Some of them will not be available, but most of them will be. So I will start with the Petit Rosso and Rosso del Soprano. There are actually two wines that are opposite. One is coming from extreme north of Italy, the other one is coming from extreme south, but they are both like light in the color with lighter tannins and metallic finish. Then you could go with the Cesanese, and beside that you could put the Cesanese and the Primitivo. So you raise up a bit the alcohol content. You might actually get into Le Cupole di Trinoro, which is a type of Super Tuscan with a bit of it's not a typical Super Tuscan with a lot of oak, but it's actually in that direction. Then you might pair the two Barolos, the Barolo Palladino, the Barolo Trediberri, and after that the Barolo Palladino, one slightly rounder and the other one, and you finish with San Marco. In that case, you're gonna have an incredible dinner, but you really need to love
burned your entire wine club
really
selections.
need to love your family because that will be giving them a really, really big gift. Okay.
I hope I'm invited to your Thanksgiving dinner.
Okay. What
And
else?
That's it. I mean, if you don't want to burn your, these are of course heavier wines, so if you even want to just go buy a different wine, certainly this would be a night for a Pinot Noir, which would be easy to find no matter where you are in the U.S. More or less, you can find
Say
out.
Pinot Noir, maybe like I would say more
Gamay.
in Oregon. Surely, Gamay would be perfect.
A Cru Beaujolais would be
Cru
beautiful.
Beaujolais, like
Cru
Molino Vent,
Beaujolais,
Molino
not
Vent.
Beaujolais Nouveau, of course. You guys all know, I think, the difference, but.
Beaujolais Nouveau is a really young wine that is mainly made for tourists, but technically there are some Gamay that are actually supposed to be aged for at least 3-4 years, but up to even 20 years sometimes. And they are meant to be more complex wines. It's like a slightly softer, a bit more fruity type of Pinot Noir, and or you can go for an Oregon Pinot Noir that is not too oaky, hopefully, and type of Pinot Noir that come from like Lompoc or Santa Barbara. They tend to have a slightly more salty finish and more acidity.
You just want to avoid tannins, of course. I think most of you know this. Turkey's dry, tannins are going to dry.
Oh,
your
that's
palate
right,
out,
that's
so
right,
just be
that's right.
careful.
So don't skip the Barolo from Palladino because it's the Barolo from Serralunga d'Alba, which is a bit more
Austere,
tight.
yeah.
Absolutely. Now I would skip even the Barolo Trediberri. Keep
Save
those
it,
wines
save it.
for a nice piece of cheddar cheese or a nice piece of
Parmigiano, you save it for
Manchego or
Christmas
Parmigiano
or
from Christmas
Hanukkah.
time.
But
Okay,
anyways, yeah, that's coming up.
That's it.
Beyond that, no, that's it. You think we're going to end with just
I don't
some
know.
bite of turkey? No, but we have like an entire dessert spread. But of course, the pumpkin pie.
No, pumpkin pie.
No, of course, there's
Pie. Okay, you might try, and I'll take responsibility for it, Montino, because the Timorasso Montino, especially the vintage you're having, is tend to have a honey flavor at the end. It's going to be a terrible pairing, but you might try it. Otherwise, you have to
You
stay.
can buy something.
You can buy something.
a
A nice
dessert
passito, like made a sweet wine made with the later harvest, I would say.
Nothing too heavy though.
Bene.
That's it. If you didn't have your wines that arrived yet, we again really apologize for it. We are working on that. We'll see some of you in New York for our events that we're doing from December 2nd through the 9th. And the ideal situation will be that we actually open up a place there, and that's just going to change even the shipping logistics and speed up everything for the
Especially,
wine club.
we're talking about the East Coast members. East Coast members,
those will be
I'm
really,
so
really
sorry that most of you were not able to book. We sold 500 bottles in less than
24 hours.
24 hours, and there is more than 380 people on the waiting list. So,
and we haven't really even promoted it. We
did not even. We sent
we
one
sent one
newsletter.
newsletter.
I don't even know how the people knew it. A lot of friends are calling me out.
We're more famous in New York than we
Than
are
here,
in Rome.
for sure.
Yeah. And don't
This is a
forget,
good thing, but-
the biggest, most important thing about the wine club, of course, is passing that bottle because you have the QR code. Can you please?
Sorry? Yeah.
So don't forget that every bottle now has the QR code actually built onto the back label. So you really want to make sure that you scan this so that you know a little bit about the wine. You'll have the story that you can share with your family. It'll give you, you'll see a video of the winemaker, you'll have the pairing ideas, you'll have when to drink it by, all the notes, which grape it is, which region it comes from, and we'll continue to build these pages up more and more and more. We did a lot more from the last shipment, so I hope you are happy with that. Reach out if you ever have any questions. If you're coming to Italy, of course, we'd love to see you. We're also happy to connect you with any of our winemakers and such. Enjoy your Thanksgiving with your family, and we'll see some of you in New York, and the rest of you we hope to see. Have a beautiful holiday season, and we hope to see you soon.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao. Ciao.